Hello and welcome to the latest edition of Lunchtime Learning. Delighted to be joined today by Sam Samuel, the MD of Edward Ashdale. Sam, how are you?
Yeah, I'm very good, thank you, Stephen, and thank you for inviting me on.
Absolute pleasure. You got Toby Martin to blame, so I don't
Yeah,
know what you did. I don't know what you did to Toby, but yes, thank you, Toby. So I've heard such good things about you. You're under no pressure whatsoever now.
yeah.
Um, so how did you get into agency? What's your journey?
So I started my working life in the Royal Navy. Interestingly enough, which is worlds apart from what I do now. I finished with the Royal Navy. I went into housing with the council, with local authority. Um, Quickly rose through the ranks there. Did some qualifications, rose through the ranks, and was approached by a guy I played football with, and he had just left the letting agents to launch his own letting agency, and he invited me to come and join him, and I did. Cut a long story short, I did, and that was it. I did all my qualifications, and we grew a great business. And when it was time for me to move on, then I did. It wasn't as simple as that. I did, I was very proud of what I'd done with his business, and he's always dangling the carrot as some of these agency owners do. And he went and opened a second office, and I said, okay, we're going to talk about a share, because you've always promised me that. And he said, no, Sam. He said, that's off the table. He said, I'm quite happy as we are. So I was looking around, all Sup and Co, a couple of multi-chains locally, and friends said to me, well, you've got the qualifications, you've got the right mindset. Why don't you go on your own? And so I did. I took the leap, and best thing I've ever done.
And how many years ago was that?
So that was in 2000 and November 2007. I decided to take the leap, and I opened February 2008 in the midst, if you remember, of the credit crunch.
I was going to say that was good timing.
It was absolutely awful timing. It couldn't get any worse. But I was very fortunate because where I was the front man for the other business, a lot of clients came with me. So a lot of clients followed, and so I had the foundation of a business to build upon. So without that, honestly, I don't think I would have survived.
Yeah, but I mean, it's funny. We did the same thing. So we opened a new office in Crouch End. I remember it was, we spent a lot of money. It was really high rent. It looked absolutely amazing. And then exactly that. But what was really interesting then was because we were the new boys in town and nobody was selling absolutely anything, they were willing to give us a chance. So we ended up getting a lot of boards up very, very quickly. Whether we sold stuff or not was another thing. But the perception was, oh, blimey, they've done well for themselves very, very quickly. So it helped. So let's go back and let's unpick a lot of the things that you said.
Yeah.
So working in the Navy, what lessons have you brought in from there into agency?
Well, first of all, it's discipline. Most importantly, we all know that the services are known for discipline. So I run my ship as if I was in the military. It's very very structured, and it's highly disciplined. I expect certain things to be done a certain way. So that's it first and foremost. And then it's just the appearance, your own appearance and willingness to succeed. I think when I was in the Navy as well, you're always encouraged to progress. So I've been able to transfer that into civilian life. Really, it's been highly driven. So I've got a lot to thank the Navy for in that respect.
Okay, great. Well, look, I want to unpick that because you talked about mindset, and you talked about being highly driven. You talked about your willingness to succeed. You talk about your discipline and structure. So I like to talk more about your structure and the discipline. What structure have you brought into your team as a result?
So, first of all, it's turning up on time at the start of the day. You know, they all know I don't stand for lateness. It's a bugbear of mine. Same as appointments, attending appointments. You get there 5 minutes before, and you get prepared early. It's, you know, my motto is be prepared or prepared to fail. And then it's in terms of the organisation of the office. It's all the lines are clear, so everybody's responsibilities are clear. Their obligations are clear to them, and I you know, I don't. When I first started, I had a few youngsters working with me, and they really did not understand what I wanted of them. They seemed to lack just the basics, the fundamentals of, you know, turning up on time, just doing things in the right, proper, professional manner. So I've got a very much a mature team. I've got 5 here, and I'm the second youngest. So it's a lot easier to manage, and they understand what I want from them. Easier. Okay. It's easier for them for me to get across my standards. They understand it.
So what would a typical structured day look like at Edward Ashdale?
So the sales manager's in around 8 o'clock, and he already starts his work. I usually roll in around 8:15. I take my daughter to school. I still do the school run in the mornings. I've got another few months of that, and she'll be in a different sixth form. The rest of the office are here for 8:45, and they will first of all deal with the inquiries that have come in overnight. Any viewings from the previous day, they would go back, get feedback from the viewings that have taken place, convey that feedback to the landlord or the vendor, and then get on with their day-to-day processes. A couple break for lunch, a couple don't. You know, they're entitled to their lunch. And they'll do prospecting, whatever we've organised for the beginning of the day. Once we get in the morning, we have a chat, we have our coffees. It's been broken up a little bit by me having this appointment with you here, but afterwards, you know, and I'll also talk about what happened yesterday at my property Inspire meeting with Nathan Emerson and a select several from around the UK. So I'll just convey what I picked up from yesterday.
Okay, lovely. So again, you talked about mindset. So what does a growth mindset look like to you, and how do you get that, embrace that into your colleagues?
Well, it's target setting, having something to aim for. It's no point just having a ship with no rudder, no direction. So you know, we set our targets and we aim for them. They're not always hit, but it's something to aim for. And you know yourself, this business is really, really challenging. And there are some, you go through some very difficult times, stormy waters. Let's call it stormy waters. We're starting the Navy thing, and you know, we might not get there immediately, but we have our short-term goals and we have our longer-term goals. And when you look back, when you get there, you look back and you went, "Gosh, we really went through it to get to where we're going." And it's having that belief in yourself and the knowledge that there are challenging times, but if you keep doing the right thing, you work hard and you keep doing the right thing, you will get there, and the sunnier times will come. So it's just, you know, you have your dark days and you have your bright days, but it's knowing in those dark times that the brighter time's going to come. Every business has its challenge and with challenges. I'm well aware of that. We are not alone. We have lots of challenges. It's just part of running a business, isn't it? So, but it's knowing that you're doing the right thing, and you will eventually get there. So we just keep going, and it's, I say estate agency businesses, I liken them to a fine wine. So as a brand, we've worked really hard to get to where we are, but and we're not stopping, but it takes a long time to establish a business for the consumer to trust a brand, and it's doing things repeatedly, just doing things, having long term. I mean, we're looking for a second office. I've been looking for a second office for a long time, but for various reasons we can't make that jump, but we'll get there.
Okay, stormy waters. You're right. This job is like an absolute roller coaster. We have good days, we have bad days. We think we're going to exchange today, and then it falls through, and whatever. So again, mindset wise, a lot of people watching this that maybe they're not used to the market that we're in now. They're definitely not used to the market that you came into in 2008 when you set up. It's really easy over COVID, and I mean that really respectfully to all the agents out there, because I know they actually worked really, really hard. But you picked up the phone, 30 people would ring, 30 people would see a property, you get 30 offers. You didn't need to prospect because everybody was selling, they were getting brilliant prices. The market's not like that anymore, so probably we are in stormy waters.
No, it's not. And also, vendors have remained unrealistic on pricing for quite a while as well. We have difficult conversations regularly with vendors that just, vendors can be quite stubborn. If they, and it goes back to trust in the industry. I know there's not a lot of trust in our industry, and vendors feel as if they're being railroaded sometimes, even though we can present them with facts and information as to why, a price reduction is necessary to get their house sale, what they want to achieve over the line. They'll often resist. So there's a hell of a lot of that at the moment. It's really tough.
So what are you doing to overcome those and give them the facts and the data they need to understand that they need to realign their price?
Well, it's the statistics that we get on the back end, supplying them with that information. It's the viewing feedback, which is really key. But you can give a vendor viewing feedback, but they're not always going to accept it. Sorry. Can you stop printing? Sorry.
Okay. No, don't be silly. So you talked about building trust. And what's been really interesting for me over the course of the last 6 months, my mum's been selling, my girlfriend's been selling and buying, and some of the things that have been going on with estate agents, it's just absolutely ridiculous. And how can estate agents start building that trust? You talked earlier about qualifications, and I know you do a lot with Property Mark there, and the qualifications there. But, and I'm playing devil's advocates here just from everything I've seen.
Sure.
I really don't think the consumer understands what estate agents actually do.
No,
I firmly believe that. So as an industry, what can we do to change that? What can we do to make it happen?
Well, my wife's one of those. She says all you do is sit behind your desk with your shiny shoes. She said, and don't really work, do you? You're not doing actual physical work, so you have to explain what's involved. But ultimately, what is going to improve the industry for consumers and the industry itself is the introduction of, dare I say, ROPA. People are we're handling some of people's biggest assets, the most valuable asset that they'll probably ever own in their life, and you've got unqualified people handling these situations, and unqualified and sometimes inexperienced, because I know with the bigger chains in particular, we've all seen the spotty 17-year-old with his spiky hair, shiny shoes, standing outside of the sale board waiting for his viewing to arrive, and you can't tell me that person has got the knowledge and experience necessary to handle an estate and a massive asset. They're effectively just door openers. So I think Roper, which keeps getting kicked down the road, that is key to improving the industry and building some trust in consumers. Because I think we're ranked like second, are we, to traffic wardens as one of the most hated industries.
I think we're
it's nuts. And there's so many good guys out there, but it's that small proportion that will get to, that behave badly, that will be tarred by them. The whole, you're going to be a blanket approach. Oh, estate agents are ruthless, they're selfish, they're robbers, they lie. All the usual kind of stuff that we get, all the usual flack that we get. But there's also, 70-80% of the industry is fantastic.
No, I couldn't agree more with you. I think what's scary is I did a reel recently, and I've shocked. It was just a simple reel about trying to get the best price for your seller. And I think last I looked at about 112,000 people had viewed it. And the comments that I've got are just absolutely crazy. Scum of the earth, pillock, don't know what you're thinking about. Estate agents don't do anything. They're the lowest of the low. And I mean, I've never been trolled before, but looking at all of this, and because there is such a lack of trust, such a lack of understanding out there. And I agree with you, and I've had this conversation, and I've said it on the podcast before. America's licensed. You've got Australia that's licensed. You've got the Republic of Ireland that's licensed. And you're right, we are dealing with somebody's biggest tax-free asset, or we're helping them maximize their investment. Solicitors, lawyers, everybody, financial advisors have got to go for exams. But I've been doing this for a long time, and it hasn't changed. Will it ever change? I've got absolutely no idea. I'm not confident it will ever change. And it's absolutely crazy. So as an industry, I think, you're right. There are so many fantastic agents out there that do not only best jobs for the consumers, but do such fantastic work for their community. Unbelievable. But just do not get the recognition, because there's so many, or there's not so many, but there's, as there are in any other industries, there's cowboys out there.
That's right. Well, you work really hard to build your reputation, and another agent from another company could behave in a certain way, and that's going to reflect back on you. And people say to you, what do you do for a living? As soon as you say you're an estate agent, and you get turned off. The eyebrows go up.
But this is it. My girlfriend called one estate agency and said, look, I've seen a property that you've got on one of the portals. Can I go and see it? No, it's under offer. Okay. Thank you. Well, do you not want my details? No. Just keep on looking at Super and Rightmove, and when anything else comes in, let me know. And she says, really? And I know, similar to your wife, when we first got together, and my girlfriend asked me what I did, I said I work with estate agents to do training, etc., etc. She said, but all estate agents do is put a property in Rightmove. About 10 minutes later, she goes, okay, now I understand what estate agents do. And she's got a better understanding. And she asked me, would I sit in on her valuations when people came round? And I did, and I manned my own business, and I was really, really quiet. And then I started asking questions, and and before I even started, what's your fee? But they already negotiated on their fees. So said, "Oh, we'll start, our fees this, but you know what, we do it for this." And said, "But we haven't even asked you to negotiate on your fees. Why are you negotiating on your fees?"
Or
But it's scary at how many
yeah,
times that's doing it. So, this is my biggest tax-free asset. You're already negotiating on your fees. What are you going to be like on negotiating me to get me the best price?
yeah.
And I said that to them,
Mhm.
and it's so there were so many things that that came out. And I think also I think we need to educate the public as well, what they need to, questions they should be asking, and go from there. Okay, so how do we build trust then, Sam?
So it's by agents doing the right thing, day in, day out, being positive and just proving to customers that that we are a trustworthy group. We're just like any other human being, trying to get along, trying to make progress, and Roper, I think the introduction of some proper qualifications to operate in this business is going to undoubtedly build the trust amongst the public.
Okay, brilliant. Thank you. I just want to go back a long way to where we started.
Yeah.
So, in 2008, when you set up your business, how have you grown that business? Because there are going to be people that are watching this that are thinking, you know what, I know there's a lot of people in the self-employed model that are starting, wondering, I know you had your other business, or you came out of the other business, so you had people. It was a bit easier getting those instructions. But how can you build up your own brand? You talked about your brand. How do people build that brand up?
It is. It's not one thing. It's several things. So, in terms of marketing, digitally, your footprint should be far and wide, covering all the angles, giving lots of information to consumers. So, before the internet, I used to do a lot of writing for magazines, little articles, and in the local newspaper. So that was already giving the consumers some kind of feedback in terms of markets, what the markets were doing. So we started off really on the having a decent online presence, and then beyond that, image is everything. We've expanded into this corner office now. When I launched, we was in a small office. The office was really, really smart. It was really well kitted out, really nice frontage, really nice signage. We moved to the corner. We've done the same. I've got neon lights and stuff. It's quite smart. It was done by an interior designer as well, and it specialised in estate agents. Can't remember their name now, but they're quite renowned in the industry. And we just added to that. And the clients that you do have, you're asking them to spread the word about you and to reach out to their friends and to tell their friends about us. Constantly looking for reviews. And referrals was a big thing for us. When I left that agency, okay, if it wasn't for lettings, then I probably wouldn't be here now. And principally, that's what I'm qualified in. I did lettings as the job before, is also going into estate agency. So with lettings, you got that cash flow. If we were in sales alone, then I wouldn't be here. It's just that. So it's a lot of hard work. It's you're doing a lot of steps out there in the streets, prospecting, talking to people, getting involved with the community and local groups. I was behind a scheme with the council and the local police. It was about safety of the kids and we called it a safe haven scheme, and businesses making themselves available for kids that might be in distress on the streets, that might feel threatened or bullied, to know. We've got little signs in the window called Safe Haven Scheme, and it's stamped with the Bromley Council logo, and it's to tell a kid, you know, you can come into our office if you're feeling threatened. So it's a series of things. It's not just one thing. It takes a long time to build, to establish a business, and it's a series of things that contribute to it.
Yeah, 100%. It's a whole combination, isn't it? It's not one thing in isolation. It's a whole combination of things that's going to make a massive, massive difference.
Yeah, the community, your local community, is actually key. You know, I know that we have a lot of self-employed agents there now that don't have a presence, but there are other ways of doing it. If you can link into your local community and be part of the community and support the community, then you're going to be known and recognised for it. I'm also a member of my golf club is literally behind my office, so I'm a member there, and I've been there. I started playing golf in 2008, and everyone said, "Oh, you've got to start playing golf. If you've got a business, you've got to play golf, and you realise how much business you get from it." And I've been at that club since then, and people come up to me all the time, and you know they've got issues, and they just ask questions, but they know that they can come to me and speak to me, and I'm gonna help them.
And that's what it's all about.
Exactly. Exactly.
100%.
And then they'll also they tell their friends, "Oh, go and ask Sam. If you've got that issue, go and ask Sam." I deal with a lot of repossessions actually, where landlords are seeking possession of their property, and they've been to a solicitor and they've been given the estimate of what it's going to cost. You know, we're a third of that. So people say, "Oh, well, you didn't know that you could do that," and then they go and tell their friends. So I do a lot of repossession work as well.
Good. So on the letting side, you know, there's loads of, obviously you've got the renters reform bill, landlords potentially wanting to sell. If I was an agent now, are there ways of growing my landlord book?
Yeah, it's a lot tougher than what it was back in the years of the early 2000s, the years of the buy-to-let boom, and we know that landlords are getting bashed every single way they turn with the amount of legislation they need to keep up with, or we need to keep up with, the certificates, etc., that they need to do. So a lot are leaving. We've experienced a lot of that ourselves. So it's really just demonstrating your knowledge online, on social media, to attract those landlords. And yeah, it's not like it used to be where you could advertise your letting services and you'd get landlords come. We haven't seen many buying to let for quite a while. So we're relying on developers. We're hitting developments where developers might be struggling to sell with another agent, and we talk to them about potentially lettings, and we speak to our clients if they're struggling to sell about letting to buy. So yeah, it's just it's different ways of approaching it, and it's certainly changed from the days where we just used to literally put landlords properties wanted in the window, and you'd get your landlords come in and ask about it. But yeah, we haven't seen that for a while. So we have to really dig deep and be quite clever in our thinking.
Fantastic. Look, a couple of final questions, because I'm really grateful for your time. So thank you. I want to get you back on your golf course behind your office.
Afternoon.
So you're obviously still wanting to grow. You talked yesterday, you had a day of a Property Mark Inspire Day. Yeah. So that growth mindset, why do you feel it's really important to carry on to self-develop? And what other things are you doing to be inspired and to learn?
Well, we spoke about my Royal Navy background, so it's part of my fabric to want to improve all the time. I read lots of self-help books. I have a mentor in Billy Schwer, who is the ex welterweight boxing world champion back in the late 90s. He works alongside me, just make sure. So I've got a mentor, Billy Schwer. He's a welterweight world champion back in the late 90s. It's someone to be accountable to. So he checks in with me regularly, checks what I'm doing. It's kind of your own fitness goals, your own mindset goals. There's so many different aspects of life, and it's about improving every single day, doing something better, learning every single day, developing yourself every single day. It's relentless, and it's the first thing that I think of in the morning is, right, what am I going to achieve today? How am I going to grow myself today? How am I going to grow my business? It's looking at every single thing. Driving along, your mind is ticking over all the time at how you can do things better. So it enables me to keep focused, knowing that Billy's going to be checking in with me the following week. Right, what have you done, Sam?
Right.
So absolutely. It's just nice to have that.
I love that. Right, one final question. Who inspires Sam apart from Billy?
Funny, because in the industry, David Thomas. I don't know, have you heard of David Thomas?
Yeah.
Yeah, so he I think he set up his Facebook group, the Estate Agency Academy, and he asked that question. So in the industry, Nathan Emerson, I've got so much respect for him. I've been a member of Property Mark for NAEA since I came into the industry in 1998 after I'd done the qualifications, and the organisation. I could always see what needed to be done, what needed to happen, but it would just seemed so archaic, bit dinosaurish. And I think what he's done with Property Mark is revolutionised it, and it's more in the public domain. It will continue to improve, and there's a lot more to come there. So Nathan Emerson, who is responsible for that, he's 100% inspires me. And people like Toby, he inspires me with his social media marketing. And Michael Sears, who owns Seeley's estate agents in Dartford. I know him from he's in Gravesend, sorry. I know him through the Inspired Group, and what he does with his business is also fantastic.
Brilliant. Well, look, thank you so much for your time. I know we had a few little gremlins there, but thank everybody for watching. Please like it and share it. And I look forward to seeing you all on the next one. Thanks very much.
Beautiful. Cheers, Stephen.